Alrighty then. We are out here in Idaho. I need to shave. No, I'm not in Idaho. I'm in Iowa. What am I saying? Hawkeyes just bought this funky hat. I asked the person, are the Hawkeyes good? And he's like, no, not really. I'm like, yeah, well, they got a cool hat. I don't know. I'm from Canada where we only have the CFL, and that's a struggle just to get out on the field. But there, they have the Iowa State something or other, plus the Hawkeyes. And he was like on the side of the Iowa State team. I don't know. So, but then I asked somebody else, and they're like, yeah, Hawkeyes are good, man. Don't worry about it. He was just a hater. I'm like, okay, good. I feel better now. Anyways, so hey, rate my setup. I got my little phone. and there's my, yeah. And bungee cords. Truck drivers are nothing if they don't have bungee cords. So we're going to turn this around. We're going to get right into this. Don't you dare close on me. We are lined up, locked and loaded. So yeah, I was going to do both of these, right? But this is an annual. It's 53 pages. It's quite the undertaking just by itself. So sorry, Abraham Lincoln, you're going on the back burner. We'll do that next. And then I'll do a comparison of the two after I've done that one. So in the meantime, we're going to do this one. And it's off the hook, man. It's just insane. You'll see 1991 here. And notice the 19 and the 91. It's like a mirror, right? Plus it's an annual. So this came out December 10th, 1990. That's when it was published. And it was like most people saw it. It was delivered in January for the new year. And so you've got that right on the cusp of the new year as it is, the dead going into the new. You can't unsee it. Once you see it, it's like, wow, this dropped right then. Coincidence? I don't think so. This is a beautiful cover. I mean, I like how it's set out. Also, duality, two. You have a comparison right there. You've got swords, one this way, one that way. Coincidence? I don't think so. It's a mirror image. This is the demon within. This also represents, some of the worst people in history. He even calls the burden that he's carrying the demon. And he refers to him, he makes comparisons to... Anyways, we'll get into that. But this was done by Mike Mignola. The cover was, anyways. Says so right there. And it's done pretty much in the same style as somebody else that was really popular back then. Frank Miller. It looks like Frank drew this. I mean, if Frank was to draw it now, you've seen his Black Cat, right? You've seen his Wolverine. That's Frank Miller right there. But it's not. It's Mike. It's Mikey who was copying him. And this was when he was just getting hot. He came out with Gotham by Gaslight and all of his own stuff. He was learning his style. But yeah, he definitely absorbed a lot from Frankie. So be it. We got to learn from somebody, right? Let's get into it. He does not, I don't think he does any artwork in the actual book. This is like a treasure trove of artists, inkers, pencilers. Look at this. No, he just does the cover. But there's like 7 pencilers, 7 inkers, 1 colorist. Well, that's good. They probably wanted to have the same feel throughout the entire book, But, I mean, it's not the same feel at all. There's differences all the way through, which is kind of nice. It's like a little Elseworlds. You know how Elseworlds was so popular, right? This whole book is that. Let's put Batman throughout all of these different situations, different timelines. Let's see how he handles it. It's Elseworlds, But that's just like the superficial way of looking at it. In the beginning, this dude is lost. He's wandering in the wilderness, in the mountains, just like Jesus. And what does he do? You know, they say that Jesus was trained in like the ancient ways and all that stuff. He comes upon his monastery, the Tibetan monk, where he first starts his schooling, and it's just amazing writing, amazing. What's the word? Communication between the two. You know, just the choice of words, and whoever did this is a wordsmith, because there's layers upon layers of stuff going on here. Anyways, he's out here saying, yo, dude, what is my destiny? You know, I've gone through so... Is that frickin' Joseph? What's going on here? Nah, just kidding. Joseph and Buddha. Some old man. Oh, sorry, Ross. Anyways, he gets hit in the head. So he's hitting other people in the head, but right there he gets cracked in the head. So he's like, oh my God, he has to choose. Remember that word for the end. It's a choice. And he has chosen. He has risen. He has riz. He has chose. And he's chosen. He's chosen. Do you see it? He's got to choose. But he hasn't yet. What is the second choice? Wait, what was the first choice? Abandon that destiny and the pride which fuels it. Become humble and find peace. That is the first choice. That is probably the best way to personal enlightenment. That's all you got to do, bro. Or struggle. And how do you do that? You gotta start at the bottom. You know? What's the second choice? Embrace the destiny that you're meant to fulfill. Enter deeply into it. Look within. The Spirit of Christ is within. No one gets to heaven but through me, right? So you want to get to heaven, well, you got to go through hell. So go further than you have ever gone before until you find what lies at its heart, at the very coronary, you know, the hearth, the heart, the stone, the hearthstone, earth. But how do I accomplish that? T, how the heck did they fit this meme in here? T, can he handle the T? The truth, the way, and the light, because I'm from that reality. I don't know what reality everybody else is from, but by golly, that book does not say life in my reality. It says light, because Judeans are the children of light. You know, I think that's Numbers 2:7 through 9, and they numbered 186,200, which is literally the speed of light in miles per second. Well, okay, it's like 400. I think they said 400. 186,400. But in actuality, it's 282, not 400. But you know, that's pretty darn close, right? You know, the children of Judea, the children of light. It said, I am the truth, the way. Way could be spelled differently, right? It's this way and that way. There's a scale there, right? So it could be heavy, could be light, could be talking about the way to, you know, plummet like a stone or float like a feather. There's a lot of symbolism all through that, you know. Anyways, truth. How do I accomplish my destiny? How do I reach the core? Through truth. But can you handle it? That's a question. Question mark. How? This writer is either channeling some serious stuff from the future because he can't handle the tea. That's not for another 15 years in memology, you know? So how did he say it? Anyways, fascinating. Unless they're time jumping, which could be, we don't know. What's on the other side? Yeah, definitely everything, right? It's that. That is infinite. What's behind there? It is infinite. Okay, whatever, man. We're heading out there. Oh, crap. I actually like this art style that's coming up here. This one's kind of bland. It doesn't stick out. But this one, on the other hand, it does. Okay, he's falling. Hot, cold, hot, cold. There's so much. So, what's happening is you're living subconsciously, right? And you're like, doop-de-doo, living a subconscious life. And then, is there nothing more? Star Trek, right? Or you reach up, some naked girl gives you an apple and says, take a bite of this. It's from the tree of knowledge. It's really cool. And then you have awareness and like, life sucks, dude. And you fall from grace, right? Of where you were ignorant, and lost. Now you've got to find your way, so you plummet down. This is also the spiral of Kundalini, the serpent. Well, the serpent, right? The tree of knowledge. He's got to start at the bottom, but anyways, the whole hot and cold imagery you'll see throughout this whole thing. 100 feet, 200 more, blah 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 words. I love this art. Like, it's just so sharp and just abrupt, I really appreciate it. Kimosabi, wow. Oh, right, because here he's dealing with, so here the red imagery, or the red shows his conscience. He's talking to his inner self here, or the burden that he's carrying, right? Brimstone, there's so many words. Smells like brimstone, sulfur. He's going to fight the devil here. He's starting at the very bottom, reddish glow, but he's got his burden that he has to carry, has to protect. Burden, that's his choice. That's his choice right there, all the way through. He hasn't chosen yet. We're in the present. But every time he goes through this book, he's making that choice. He's chosen in the past tense. Okay, you gotta see it. So anyways, there's the, little religious connotation there. This is also the bottom chakra, pure survival. That's all there is. There's no thought, there's no mind. It's just like everything you can do to survive. He's got no weapons. He's just trying to get through. There's a big sword there, but he ain't got no tools. He's like primitive, primal. It's just raw. That's it. Base instinct. And then it's kind of funny. So also you have to think he's like, a multi-billionaire, right? And all these people are trying to drag him down. Gimme, 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 gimme kind of stuff going on here in his younger days. This is also his journey that he took, and he's hallucinating. We don't know why, but this is obviously a fever pitch dream. And he's got all these people trying to take from him. He's trying, maybe it's I don't know if it's family, maybe it's college buddies, I don't know. It's like, hey, let's call up Bruce and get him to come down and he'll buy us some beer, It's probably more than that, but, he's got to fight those demons off, externally. You want my burden? Take it. He tosses it and they stop, stunned. And they're like, holy crap, what the the hell's this guy doing? You know, all of his high school buddies or whatever, the users. It's really cool. I like the progression here, how they go through it. It is, I mean, it's not the most refined art, but it stands out, and I appreciate it for that. So the bottom chakra, right? Red, and it's all red. Da, 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 ba, da, ba. You could also say there's 7 chakras and 7 sins. I don't know what the 7 sins are. God created the earth in 6 days. 6 days. And he rested on the 7th. Well, that doesn't really fit. So he's just got to do all he can. He notices a door. There's always a door. You know, that's symbolism. That's some heavy-duty symbolism there. Even with the letters. I don't think y'all can handle that yet, though. He lifts his burden and he trudges towards it. And boom. Where are we? Who's that? That's what I want to know. Talia? I think that's her name, right? You are weary. Come refresh yourself. This is like Hercules or Gilgamesh or who else? Odysseus, you know. They're starting on their journey and they have these quests that they have to fulfill. Perseus, Ulysses, you know, all of these dudes. Shit. Who's that dude that pushes a rock up a hill? It escapes me right now. But he does that day in, day out, every day, the same. And but anyways, this is all about gluttony, chakra 2, right? It's desires and wants and overindulgence, and you see that. She's like, here, dude, eat some food and whatever you desire. I'm a princess. No, I'm like that perfect high school sweetheart housewife who reminds you of your mother, you know. You look weary. Come refresh yourself. She's a siren, you know, singing and calling his name. He eats and then he drinks, indulges in the most decadent thing possible, and it's disgusting. It's blood. Ugh, who does that? And then she reveals herself, you know, as a succubus probably, you know. And he's revolted by her, and he realizes, no, that's not who he is. That's not what he wants to become. He doesn't want to be stuck here at this base level. He has to overcome this. And he has to overcome this, you know, this massive obstacle. So he's got some brains now. He's still not thinking very clearly, though. He's probably got drug issues, maybe, and he's trying to fight his way through this alcoholic depression of, like, whatever base instinct, you know. But it's a little more than base instinct. It's like fulfilling or filling that hole that's inside of him, you know, after his parents died or whatever. Like, there's so much in here. This is his younger days, right? And this is like a fever-pitched dream that he's having. So he's got to overcome this dude here. And remember, when he was fighting the other demon, there was no sword. But he uses some intellect. He finds the will to say no, and to say, no, I want more in my life. And she's calling him, well, sorry, I thought that my pet. I thought she was calling him my pet, but she's talking about her pet. You know, he has to overcome her strong persuasions, we'll say. Anyways, it's amazing. Yeah, it's just cool to see the artwork. Like, I just love that right there. This is pretty good art right here too. I love this here too. How it's lit. That, so simple, so powerful, you know? of sucks. I don't like that. That's pretty cool though. This is for for shortening on the body. All of it. Man. Simple, yeah, like this is simple here, but it's done so well. And I mean, I don't think I could do that at this stage yet. But that, I mean, the choice to do that, eh? Anyway, so he's using his will now. That's the third chakra, right? Third. And where other people would give in, he doesn't. He finds his strength, which is will, the third chakra, and he moves it into the fourth, the heart, courage, you know, inner courage. He hopes. That's pretty cool right there, you know. So where he was coming from base, like raw, primal energy before, you know, trying to drag himself out of hell. And then he was like, okay, I've got like the base instincts and desires now, but he's stuck there, you know, until he realizes just how disgusting it is. And then he's got to dig down deep and find that will to overcome it, you know. And then because he succeeded a little bit, he's lived this long, you know, he's got a hope. That gives him the ability to hope. It's pretty freaking powerful, you know? And that's when you get these amazing situations happening in your life where you as the hero, because we're all heroes in our own story, can do whatever you put your mind to. Look at this ninja move here. Does it make sense? It does, because I see it happening right here, so it's got to be true. Yeah, and then it's like, okay, buddy, here, have another drink. And he's like, nah, I'll pass, thanks. And then the illusion, just like whatever power she could have had, is gone. And he just walks away. Keep the sword, weapons aren't my style. So what the hell happened there? You know, that's an evolution and a growth right there. Now let's switch this word. It's an anagram. I can't think of the word. Put the S on the bottom, and it's a mirror. So keep the sword, because I got words, you know. And literally, chunk, he stuck it in the ground. Now who did that but in reverse? King Arthur, right? He pulled the sword from the stone. And you have to know that in ancient times, the rules, like Hammer Rabbi, this rabbi with the hammer, wrote the laws in cuneiform on clay tablets. And the only person that could do such a thing, that had the power to do that, was the ruler. So he didn't pull the words. Whoops, he didn't pull the sword from the stone. He pulled the words from the stone, and he rewrote the laws. And that was an evolutionary, like on a societal level, change. So that dude is the original King Arthur. Wow, I mean, who knows? Because history's been rewritten so many times. There's maybe there was a true King Arthur, you know, the original author. You know, that's where the power is in being the author of the writings, you know, the writs, the rights. What makes right, might makes right, blah, blah, blah. You know, live by the sword, die by the sword, right? What's that silver-tongued devil? Silver tongue, like a tongue like a rapier. Yeah. All those analogies. So it's obviously there. So, but anyways, he's evolved out of it. So now, instead of physical might, and like violence, he's going to use his words. He's going to use his big words. See? Yeah. So that's cool. So he's walking through here, and oh my God, it's an alien invasion. I can't say. I mean, the art is great, you know. But it's not as captivating as what we just went through. And I don't like the style, and it just looks cartoony to me. But anyways, he notices. Oh my God, he's a noticer. Sound. Whee! Stop that noise. And what does he do? He melts the thing, and he notices. And he mocks the infantry. That's not cool, bro. And he fights the dude. Ugh. He's always getting hit in the head in this thing. But yeah, all smashed. Television monitors, microphones, speakers. Oh, and there happens to be a boy with a bugle. That's good. But so be it. He's using his intellect, and he finds his voice. Like Jericho, who brought down the wall. There's so much biblical like symbolism in this book. It's just insane. And so again, if you find your voice, you've reached a higher power, and your intellect is you know, it's at a newer level. And and he's being fair too. He's listening, and he's learning, and he's not being violent. He's like, yeah, dude, you can I have my own code. It forbids the taking of life. And he's like, then might I find asylum here? And he's like, you might at that. Wow, my horn. Is that Jimmy? Maybe that's Jimmy. I don't know. Jimmy Crack Corn. Who knows? I don't know that one. But he's like, you might, you know, hey, dude, you know, be nice. Don't be such a jerk, and you might be happy. But yeah, he's going up the ladder because he's climbing that mountain. He's climbing the Kundalini spiral. He's evolving, right? So what was that? That was number 4 no, 5. Voice chakra. The throat chakra. So now we're going into pure intellect, and he sees debauchery externally, you know? So that's, now he's seeing the outside world, and it used to be inside of him. Again, it's a reflection, right? Reflection of what was part of him, and now he can pass judgment. You see, so he's got the intellect to do this. And it's refined, you know? So where before there was debauchery and alcohol and like violence that he had to struggle through, now he's making a choice to partake in this struggle. And of course, his burden is always in danger. You know, he's always got that choice to make, you know. And we're still looking for what that is. We don't know yet. Da-da-da. So this is chakra 6. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Violence. I don't mind this artwork. It's really dark. I mean, it's supposed to be Al Capone noir, but it's not. It's done like noir, but it's not noir. I enjoy it. No problems here. Even the not the words, but the dialogue, that's better. He will be ventilate him like that. You just hear like Al Capone or somebody say something cheesy like that. So, but he's got to track down his burden. He's got to protect that, you know. Oh, look, he gets hit in the head again. Just leave him alone. There we go. And look, he's like, and keep rolling toward, he's got to roll with the momentum. And they use the word momentum of dive makes dodging impossible. Roll with the punches, dude. You know? So this is him with the intellect here. Just roll with it and keep your momentum going. Keep your motives clear. Motives, momentum. And that's where he'll find what he's after. Among other things, slugs miss him. He hits a crate full of liquor. Whoopsie! And of course the liquor bursts into flames. We're just gonna get up here and look to make sure. Yeah, we're doing okay. My burden! And this dude's like, fire! And the stairs collapse, you know, and he's like, oh shit, this dude's knocked down. He's going to roast. So what? Guess who's saying that? So he's a human being, you can't let him die. You know, the cellar is an inferno. It's always an inferno lower down. The lower down you go, the closer you get to hell. So this again, you know, he has to go through hell to come out the other side. I like how the first word here that you see is fire, and then the last word here is water. I mean, sure, it's cheap alcohol, right? But still, fire, water. I love that. And look, here's this dude, his Jiminy Cricket conscience is talking to him. You could keep the cold from going down into your chest. Tie a knot in your neck. It's funny. Voice again. The demon's voice. He thought he'd left the demon behind, but you can't outrun your demons, right? They're always there. And again, it's a burden. The demon, the burden is now a demon, you know? It's crazy. Also, demon, that's another, you gotta switch those letters around, and it's denom in French, which is of name, you know, so demon and of name, and that's also of man, mon, man, one, mon is one, moon, which is the reflection, which is the mirror image of the sun. So you got the good thing, the sun, and then you have the moon, which is not so good. It's the monster, moonster, you know, star, mon, star, moon, star. So you got all that alliteration in there, or all that, I don't know what it is, metaphors and all that shit. Similes. Ba, ba, ba. The demon's voice. Also, demotics. Demotics is lower commerce, or like market speak. In ancient Egypt, you had the hieroglyphs, which literally is the higher pharaohs and priests would use these glyphs to communicate to God, and for royalty and all that stuff. And then you had demotics, which is used in selling stuff, and it's like a dirty thing. It's contractual. That's where all of our maritime stuff comes from, which is mar. It's like the rules of the sea, so to speak. It's all contractual admiralty stuff. So you can't leave that stuff behind, because you literally are the beast. Your days are numbered. Anyways, ignore it. Just forget I said that. But yeah, this literally is a reflection of him. If this wasn't here, how would he be defined? This choice, this burden, this demon literally defines him. And it's a choice on every step of the way through, of how he struggles and what he overcomes, like to protect this burden and what it represents. It is an aspect of him internally and also externally, you know. And what does it mean to him? That's what he's trying to get to, this destiny, this truth, this T, you know. So I mean, all that other bad stuff, those are just minor characters. Now we gotta go for the big baddie, right? And who is the big baddie? Well, there's only one person that could fill that bill, and it is the Führer himself. Marka, Marka, Marka. I gave them... I can't even do it. I'm not going to. But let's look at the... So we were in 6 before, right? This chakra 6, intellect. Now we're into understanding and knowledge and like awareness, like universal type stuff. We're in chakra 7. Okay, so why the hell are there dead people in chakra 7? It's because you've peaked. You know, you're right there at the top. So you have a view of both sides. It's kind of like this, you know, as you're climbing out of hell. You know, you got to go through the 7, and you hit the peak here, and then it's like, oh, I see hell, and you see the mirror twisted, dead side over here, life side over here, and you're teetering on both of them. So you'll see a comparison here a lot. German Nazis, very unfriendly Nazis, as if there's any other kind of comparison, you know. I think I wrote down all the comparisons, and there's so many, it's important. The whole book is duality, right? Duality. So, as if there's any other kind. Maybe, I don't know. They don't have a corner on the hostility market. Blah, blah, blah. And they're demons. They're dead. Walking corpses. Okay, they may be dead, but they're using live ammo. So dead, live, right? These juxtapositions. Over the rise. Should be rise. Okay? Who rises? Jesus rises, you know? Also, the sun rises in the east. Look to the sun rising in the east to calm the mind. All this stuff, you know? It's hard to run through deep snow. Again, it's like imagining just doing these things. It's so contrary, you know? I had to come back for later, blah, blah, blah. Down by the river. Fishing in the rivers of life. That reminds me of that FLQ song. You might not know it. Maybe it's ALM. Tammy Tucker sang it. It's deep. It's a deep, deep song. But anyways, fishing in the rivers of life. Fishing in the rivers of life. And they say it so much in that song, it's crazy. Down by the river, graves, you know. Coming over the ridge, heavy armor tanks. Who's that? Well, guess who it is. He's in red, and red is dead. Blue is new. It's like the light spectrum. You red shift, you blue shift. Blue shift is coming towards you. It's compressed. That's why I'm wearing these glasses, because it's an assault on the eyes. It's violent because I'm old. And red is expansed. It's like the waves are, you know, spread out. They're dying. It's yin compared to yang. Yang is blue. So anyways, his voice rises. Like they use the word rise over here, right? Somewhere. Over the rise. And his voice rises. He rages, but that's not it. Oh, has he risen? Has he too risen? You know, they use the word rise so much in just this short little thing here. And so the crust of the snow cracks and figures push up. So things are rising as they're falling, because this is like the 7th chakra. You've reached the peak and now you're coming back down. See, Kundalini falls too. It rises and then it falls. And this is unnatural. Who will rise to serve the Reich? Who will not fall? Not fall. Rise, not fall. Because they're going down, you know. And rage against the dying of the life. Just kidding. It's not life. It's the light. I hate these Mandela effects. Anyways, so you can see that, obviously. There's a comparison here, and push up. They're coming out of their graves. Magic has pulled them from their grave. Gravity is where, I mean, it comes from the word grave, you know, and gravity has its own pull. Actually, that's not quite, I mean, that's how we explain it, but it's, anyways, so there's a force in opposition pulling from gravity. I love it, you know. That's why I'm like, this person is a genius in how they're writing this, because I think they're channeling. I think they're channeling a demon. And like, that's what pure genius is. That's where it comes from a genie, from a jinn, you know. And those ain't good. I mean, they're not necessarily bad, but they sure are mischievous. But that's not, you can't look at it in such a simple way. It's so funny, this author, somebody Stein, when you look up a TED talk on genius, she was saying how when she was writing, she would feel this idea, this inspiration, and it would rush over her as if it was coming over top of a hill, cresting over a hill, and she'd have to run like through the garden and into the house and grab a pen and paper and grab it by the tail, grab the demon by the tail as it was rushing and washing over her, and she'd try and hold down as much of it as she could and write it on paper. And that's what she considered pure genius. And absolutely, it's the genie experience, jinn. It's channeling, and there's nothing right or wrong, but thinking makes it so, you know. I don't know about that. I believe in an objective world, an objective reality, because there are definitely some wrong things, you know. Anyways, or has he too risen? Sorry, I can talk for hours. Oh no, the ledge breaks, and of course he falls. So he was at the peak, and now he's definitely over the rise, and he has fallen, living and dead. You see how he's making the transition. I mean, they're all living and dead, but he is too, because he's you know, and he's taking some abuse here. But he still has the knowledge from the other side, the knowledge from the rise. Stop him! Everybody falls backwards, blah blah blah. But that's not the same. You know, they're all falling. Like he's falling backwards. He's falling down. You see, like the Kundalini is. That's what happens. You reach this pure peak of like awareness and understanding and universal excellence and grace, and then you fall. And that's what this guy did. Ooh, creepy stuff going on there. But of course, he transforms into this dude. By the way, his salvation, this is crazy, is in him. He's like, my only way to survive is by getting to him. So he's got to take this abuse as he's charging through to get to him. Fool, stop him. And, which is crazy. When you think about it, it's like, that's your salvation? What the hell does that mean? I don't even know what that means. You know, what are you trying to say, bro? Anyways, the bridge crumbles, and he's holding on by a thread as he's falling. He's like, please, no, man. No, he's not like that at all. He transforms into the Joker. He's been a bad little dictator. And what the heck? Why is the Joker here? And then you find out, well, he's been delirious because he got cracked in the head, which was shown in the very beginning, you know. And he's been delirious, trudging through the snow. They had a plane crash and almost died. And this burden is him. and like metaphorically. And they explain it all. When I first read this book back in 1991, I was like, whoa, that is so trippy. Like, and it was. And, you know, if somebody would pick this up now, they'd be like, wow, this is so cheesy. This is like an Elseworlds. And Superbad by that dude from World's Biggest Problems or whatever. His comic book is like this, you know, going through different superheroes and stuff like that. I mean, obviously different, but and also maybe a little bit of Billy Tucci's going through the. But I mean, he has a different. He's trying to achieve something totally different, and that's his like magnum opus in a way as well. So it's not even fair to compare. I'm sorry, but yeah, talking to himself. You thought it was him? How very flattering. Yeah, that's nice. Anyways, somewhere in here, broken bones, and he gets to it. I believe in the absolute sacredness of human life. Boom. There you go. That's the core. That's the heart. Aries, coronary. That's the heart of the matter right there. Ma'at. That's Matthew. He was the one that was the tax collector, you know, the scales. The heart of the matter is that he believes that absolute sacredness of human life exists, and that's how he lives. He doesn't believe in anything else. I appreciate this, the snow. Kind of. Not really. It's a little messy. And it doesn't matter if other people see him as insane, but he has to. That's what his driving force. That's his North Star, you know. That's what keeps him on an even keel, so to speak. Yeah, there's a final reason as well, and that's his sheer audacity. Audacity. I can't think of the word, but he's like, no, I refuse to give you the satisfaction of seeing me fail. And seeing him fail isn't in like dying in the wilderness somewhere, climbing up a mountain. No. Seeing him fail would be watching the Joker, watching Batman kill him. That would be seeing the Batman fail, because he would give up on his core belief that all life is sacred. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, there's so much more. I wrote so many more notes, but this has already taken so long. I found that something that was really interesting. The mountain is just like the Kundalini. That's all it is. Like climbing up, falling down with a new learned like structure. So yeah. Remember that Batman asked a question. Were there any other kind of Nazis besides unfriendly? Right? So that's interesting. And all life is sacred. So he was literally going to save the bad little dictator. He was going to do that. Crazy. Because that's the position he was in. He was literally, that's his burden. That's what he had chosen. He is the chosen one, right? And he was literally going to save the bad little dictator. Anyways, what do I think about this? I think it's a masterpiece. If you read it on one level, it's like, well, cool, punches, kicks. Ooh, he's fighting a demon. This is awesome, you know? Ooh, look. Ooh, he's kind of cute, you know? Yeah, look at that. Look at That's amazing, you know. And even her here, whoever drew this, I can't remember which one. Great, you know. But yeah, I mean, and then it gets cheesy. I don't like this style. Sorry, bro. You know, it's entertaining to people because you also, I love this noir kind of look to it, eh? Gritty. Another thing too here, he's dragging this poor bastard through the snow. Where is it? Eating jerky, talking to myself. Do we have a little bat bimbo? Maybe. Only a half mile further. Just time to ask you just one more question. The question I've been asking for 3 days. 3 days he was in this limbo, you know? He says this somewhere else here too. He says 3 days by itself. Oh, here we go. We've been apart these 3 days. You've dragged me through the snow. Ah, the tone of your voice tells me you're with me again. Not that we've been apart. Oh, I see. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, 3 days. So that's the state of, you know, life and death. Here we are, December, going into January. Right there, right? December, that's the dying of the ember. Sept, October. Oops, that doesn't work. November. 9, Dec, 10, ember. And do not go gently into the dying of the light, right? And the truth, the way, and the light. And then he has risen on day 3. On the eve of day 3. Just like who? You know. Whether it's the south, what is it? The South Cross? Southern Cross. How it hangs there, that's the limbo stage. It hangs in the one position for 3 days, and then it slowly makes its way back. And that's how you get the new year. Right? Old year stops, hovers for 3 days, and then it proceeds again. Yeah, it's fascinating. And of course over here, 3 days, and 40 miles. They tricked you. 3 days, 40 miles. It's 40 days and 40 nights. Lost in the desert, but it's lost in the snow, you know. And this dude right here sure is a devil, you know. Say what? Say 10. You know, Dec. X. Deca. Marks the spot. The dying of the light. Anyway, Satan and knowledge and the quest for knowledge. He's on a quest. It's not so much about redemption. It's not. It's not a Jacob story. This is a Jesus Christ and the temptation of Christ. Right here as well. And the resurrection. You know? A little bit of Old Testament there with the horn. But there's a lesson there. Heavy duty. Love it. And but also it's like wham, bam. Oh, look, they're shooting. Like intellectually that way, it's pretty empty, you know. Some of the artwork is cool though. Like, would I recommend? Hell yeah. Because this writer, is it O'Neill or something like that? By the way, this shit gives you cancer. Denny O'Neill, amazing script. Yeah, and I don't know who these editors are, but yeah, that's some. I bet he had this closer, and they're like, you know what, bro, change it up so that it's not as smacking you in the face as the temptation of Christ. It's crazy that the temptation is giving in to letting this dude die. That's what he's trying to get him to do. Anyways, love it. Duality. You know, and it's deep. 1991, December 10th, comes out in January. Whoa. You know, Also, looking into the gematria and the 1991 relationship. 1-9 is the completion of man itself. 1 through 9 is the journey, and then 10 is the completion of man. That's ancient, some Kabbalah shit and stuff like that. That's how they that's how they do their math. You look into people like Napoleon, and he's got 19s all the way through in the Wikipedia page. It's like 19 this, 19 that, 19, 19, 19. What are they doing with that number? You look in headlines, and there's a pattern. And it's not done by accident, mostly. They use it as like a double springboard, or like bouncing a double bounce on the trampoline. They just piggyback on what's naturally occurring. That's what they're doing. Some cool shit. It's hardcore, old school stuff that it's masked, but this is propaganda. It's beautiful, but it's a solid hero's journey. It's got growth, and notice there is zero redemption in this story. There is only growth, starting from the bottom. I don't know that Drake song. I've been trying to think of it as we go. Okay, well, I will do the next book, and gall darn it, I should do a quicker video next time, but once I start talking, I can't stop. Have a great night. Eat right. Love more. Godspeed. God damn it. Pardon my language.